Hey guys, welcome back to the Man Advantage podcast. This is Jamie, your host. Today we have a special guest. We're going to talk about the hockey playoffs in the NHL. So let's go. And welcome back. Happy Saturday, everybody. Hope you're all having a great day. Once again, this is Jamie. I have a special guest here today. His name is Ethan Kurzweil. He comes all the way from New Jersey, and he is the son of a good friend of mine. So we're going to talk some playoff hockey. Ethan, how are you today?
All is good.
All right, great to hear. Before we start, just a quick thing. On the podcast last night, I forgot to mention something that I noticed in the game. On the Rangers penalty kill, the 5-on-3, I really thought that it was Kopp, Lindgren, and Truba, I believe, on the ice. And I thought three of those guys just really, really played well. They didn't give Pittsburgh much, didn't give him much time, and that was a big kill at that time of the game. It was 2-2. So just wanted to get that in there. Let's switch our attention to Boston and Carolina. Ethan, take it away for Game 7. What do you think, buddy?
Uh it's going to be a battle. I favor Carolina by a slight margin. I think they're a little more of a destined team. While I think all around the Bruins are a bit more balanced, I just happen to favor Carolina in this one and anti Ranta. And, hopefully we have our first of five, we have a good game seven.
All right, so you think that Carolina will win tonight?
Yes, I do.
No chance for Boston? Is this
They,
something that
they
they have
the
no
Bruins
chance?
have a chance.
Yeah. Well, it's important that they have McAvoy and Lindholm back on D. Um,
For sure.
the Bruins have won 3 out of 4, although it's been a home ice kind of series. Um, I I agree with you. I think it's Carolina. They have a big home ice advantage. Their crowd gets really, really crazy, and I feel like they really play well in front of their home fans. So perhaps, I give the slight edge to Carolina. I am hoping for just a good hockey game.
I would like to see a good hockey game as well.
Yeah, I don't want to see 4-1 in the third. I want to see, 2-2 or 1-1 or 3-3. I want to see some drama in this game. Player to watch out for. I think both teams. Give me a one player on each team that we should watch out for.
We should probably watch out for Brad Marchand to see in case he does do anything dirty.
Okay, and what about on Carolina?
watch out for watch out for Jacob Slavin because he's been good.
Okay, I'm gonna go with this. I'm gonna say this. Um, I'm gonna pick Charlie McAvoy for Boston, just because I think he's even though I just think he's a talented player. I don't think he gets a lot of the publicity that he may deserve. Um, I think he's never talked about like the Adam Foxes or the Cal McCarrs or the Yossi, but McAvoy is really, really good. I just think he might make a difference tonight. And then on Carolina's side, I'm gonna go with Aho. Aho took a big hit in Game 5. I'm sorry, in Game 6, and was never the same after that hit. So I'm really curious to see how he reacts. If he's if he's healthy enough to play, of course. I'm sure he'll be playing, but he was not the same after that hit. So hopefully that's just a good game, and then we'll transition to my favorite game of the night, which is the defending two-time Stanley Cup champions, Tampa Bay Lightning, versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. What are your thoughts?
Let me ask you this question:
Go ahead.
What do you remember about 2004?
Well, yeah, that's the last time Toronto has won a series.
What do you remember about that year?
That was a long time ago, pal. I don't remember too much, but yeah, I know Toronto fans have waited a long time to win a series. So what's gonna happen? What do
I
you
don't
like?
I don't remember much of that myself, but I do think, with the sixth deciding game in the last 9 years for Toronto since 2013, including, game five for me, which counts when they lost to Columbus in the qualifying round in the bubble in 20.
Yeah.
I think what's gonna happen tonight is, I've been torn all day on who's gonna win it. Like, do I think Tampa one minute Tampa, 1 minute Toronto? But I think it's gonna, in the end, if I can choose one, I think if I could choose just one, I would go with Toronto, because I think the fine this is the best group they've had in a long time. I think they're gonna get the monkey off their back. I think, Tampa has had, it's amazing you don't see too many teams try for three peats anymore, but I think Toronto is ready to say tonight, let's do it. Let's get the win. Let's get the monkey on our backs and finally win a game seven.
All right. Give me a player on each team to look out for.
All right. Austin Matthews on Toronto.
All right.
Tampa, I would say Vasilevsky, even though he's been shaky, this could be the game. I would not be surprised if he stumps his way to a 3-0 victory.
All right. That's good analysis. Here's what a couple things that I think about. I think for Toronto, I think it's really important that the game is played 5-on-5. They've had a lot of success 5-on-5 in the series. So if the referees are going to call it close, I think that advantage goes a little bit to, when I mean call it close, they call more penalties. I feel like that advantage goes to I'm sorry, Tampa Bay, because I think Tampa, even though both teams are good on the power play, I really think that Tampa could stay close because of their power play. If the game is one of these games where the refs don't call anything, I think it could be uh, Toronto's night because their play on 5-on-5 is so good. So, I picked Tampa Bay to win this series. I think I picked in 6 or 7. Um, so for me on Toronto's side, I'm looking at Mitch Marner. Uh, you know, last few game sevens for Toronto, he hasn't done a whole lot. Uh, he's been good in the series. So let's see if he can continue that. And like what you said, they're going to try and get the monkey off their back. Um, and Jack Campbell needs to be good. And then I agree with what you said about Toronto. I'm sorry, Tampa Bay. Vasilevsky. I mean, he might is the kind of guy where he might just shut you down. You don't get anything. So this is a monumental game in the franchise. Like if Toronto loses this game, it's going to send shockwaves through Toronto's franchise because there will be changes. There will be changes. So if they win, maybe there's not as many changes, but there will be some changes.
There will be significant amount of changes. The organization will lose their heads.
Yeah. So all right, let's talk about the last game 5 for tonight.
Game seven.
I'm sorry, game 7. We have Edmonton hosting the LA Kings. What are your thoughts?
Well, you have McDavid and Draisaitl, who, you have that dynamic duo, which is still, puzzling in my head, like being every bit of Tays and Kane and Crosby and Malkin. Like, you're 6, 7 years into the league already. I mean, you should have a cup. Tays and Kane, Crosby and Malkin, well did already. 6, 7 years into their tenure, but this is the game tonight where those guys say as leaders, we're gonna win this game. We're at home. We're gonna win. The Kings have played very well, and they're looking. They This is only their third playoff appearance since the last cup in 2014. They only won 2 playoff series in each of their 2 previous playoff appearances in 2016 and 18. So the Kings are looking tonight to, pull off the upset and, go on to the second round, which nobody has expected them even at the start of the season to do. So that is a very fascinating game.
All right, give me a player on each side.
Connor McDavid, of course,
Mm-hmm.
for the Oilers, and then on the Kings, Jonathan Quick.
Okay, that's a good choice. So here's my thoughts. McDavid, and I know a lot of people think that McDavid had his best game as a pro in Game Six, not because he scored a lot of points, but his overall game was so well rounded. Now I have heard rumblings that Draisaitl is battling injuries, so he's definitely not 100%. But I think there's no way he doesn't play. Um, that said, is it going to be enough to get past an upstart Kings team? I think the player that we have to there's two players. It's got to be the goaltender for Edmonton.
Mike, the 40-year-old Mike Smith.
Yeah, because he could implode and absolutely give up 6 goals or 4 quick goals. You just don't know.
Remember, he's 40, not 30.
Right, and then you have Draisaitl. If he's really that hurt, the Oilers need him no matter what. So he's got to play to his full potential, even though he's hurt. And then on the other side, I think a key player is Philip Deneau because he's pretty much going to be the guy checking McDavid. He's got to kind of hold him, and he has the last couple games, Game 5, and Game 12, Game 6. McDavid was McDavid. But you want to limit anything he does. I mean, at this point, he's the best player in the game. So I like to know, and I think the goalie, I think Quick. I mean, the goaltending is everything. So all hands on deck for Game 7. So let's switch to tomorrow, and we'll leave the Rangers Penguins to last. So we'll talk about the Dallas Stars, and they will be in Calgary against the Flames. What are your thoughts?
While it's been a very tight, a very close series, I think Calgary is going to come out for that game. You know, I, I like Dallas, but not very huge, but not a super huge fan of them. Calgary hasn't played their best throughout the series. They haven't been the super explosive Calgary regular season team we've seen in these playoffs. But I would take Calgary to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas wins.
All right, give me 2 players.
Dallas, um, Dallas, Miro Heiskanen,
Mm-hmm.
Calgary, Johnny Gaudreau.
Okay. So I kind of agree with your analysis there because I feel like Calgary is definitely the better team. Um, that said, Ottinger has played amazing in this series, and he's basically won them 3 games, almost 4. So while I give the edge to Calgary because they are on home ice, it's one of those things where the goaltender might pitch a shutout and they might win. They might, Dallas could win 1-0, and I wouldn't be surprised. I think the key guy on Calgary, I like Gaudreau, but I always think it's Markstrom. I mean, Markstrom's going to have to, stand up to the task of going shot to shot with Ottinger.
Everybody knows Jacob Markstrom is one of the best goalies in the whole league, and he has to prove it tomorrow night.
And on the Dallas side, I think I'm gonna go 2 players. Of course, Ottinger. He's the most. Your goaltender is always the most important player. But they really need some depth scoring. They can't rely on Pavelski, uh, Robertson, and Rupe Hintz to do all the scoring. So if somebody like Ben or Tyler Sagan or just any one of the forwards, Domestikov, someone get get an extra goal, that would really help their chances. So I'm leaning Calgary, but again, it's so close. These series have been really, really close. I guess that's why they're at 7 games for all these. So let's talk about the last one, the one that's closest uh, in the area, is going to be the Rangers hosting the Penguins. After the Rangers were down 3 games to 1, down 2-0 in both Game 5 and Game 6, they found ways to win and won both games 5-3. Ethan, let me hear your thoughts.
While I have been a diehard Devil fan my whole life, you got to give the Rangers. I will give the Rangers a ton of credit tomorrow night. They've battled extremely hard to get all the way here, and now, for the third time in history, trying to overcome a 3-1 deficit isn't easy. And I know they're at home, but a slight edge, I think, to I would give. I think I would give the Rangers a slight edge over Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh still doesn't have Crosby. They're still playing a third string goalie in Louis Domingue. So it kind of ripped me apart. It ripped me apart to say it, but I get it. I give the Rangers some credit because they're going to be at home. So,
What do you think about a key player on each side, please?
all right, Chris Kreider for the Rangers,
Right,
and then Tank for Pittsburgh. Um, Jake Gutsnell.
Jake Gensel. All right, that's a good choice. And I kind of will reiterate your words and agree with you and say, you know, if this is a 5-on-5 game, I think the advantage is definitely Pittsburgh. Um, it's going to be really important for both teams to keep their emotions in check, and you see exactly what happened. The Penguins took a penalty, and that gave the Rangers life. And within 9 minutes, they were up by two, and then after 9 minutes, they were down by a goal. Now, are they going to call it close, or are they going to let the guys play? So Pittsburgh wants to play 5-on-5 because of the better team 5-on-5. Is Domingue going to be able to, um, stop the Rangers if the Rangers get going? Is Shesterkin 100% back? I feel like even though he won the last two games, he hasn't been classic Igor. So there's lots and lots of questions. I'll go with Louis Domingue for the Penguins as their key player. With an asterisk, I'll say we don't know about Crosby. If I had a bet, I would say the guy plays, even though it's been rumored he has a concussion.
Again.
There are rumors out there that again, I have no proof of that. I'm just telling you what I've been reading. As far as the Rangers, you gotta say Shesterkin's the key guy, but the other guy is Mika Zibanejad. Mika he was lost on a milk carton for the first 5 games of the series, and then last night he had a hat trick. So, if Mika shows up and plays, and I think it's a good sign for Rangers that, he was able to get some goals and he shot the puck more. He's very, very streaky. Well, he had 3 goals last night, so hopefully he can continue that and we can win Game 7 and go on to the second round. So I want to thank my guest today, Ethan Kurzweil, all the way from New Jersey. He's a very knowledgeable hockey fan. Um, so it was great to see him and have him here in the studio today on Saturday. And it was great to see him. So
And a big thank you to you, James, for having me.
you're welcome. You're welcome. And we're going to end the show right now and hope everybody has a great rest of your Saturday. Hockey coming up at 4:30. That's in 15 minutes. So go hockey, and we'll see you all tomorrow night.
Enjoy Saturday.